During World War II, the German Wehrmacht used several models of Panzerjäger, heavy self-propelled anti-tank guns, such as the Nashorn, Ferdinand, Jagdpanzer, and Jagdtiger, in combat. The heaviest and most heavily armed was the last of them. However, Sd.Kfz 186, or formerly the 12.8 cm Panzerjäger Tiger, turned out to be a poorly successful design. Its entry into production and combat debut also fell in the declining period of the war, which had a significant impact both on the quality of workmanship and the effects of using this vehicle in combat. The heavy tank hunter built on the basis of the Tiger II inherited its shortcomings, and their removal proved impossible. Finally, though part of the Panzerjäger, the Jagdtiger was more of an assault gun that terrified both its enemies and its own soldiers, the former when it fired, the latter when it was necessary to refuel or repair them. The concept of developing a heavy self-propelled gun, armed with a powerful straight-fire cannon, appeared in the Wehrmacht even before the outbreak of World War II. Such vehicles, armed with 105 mm, 128 mm, or 150 mm long-barreled guns, capable of firing heavy shells with very high initial velocities, were needed to break the fortifications of the Maginot Line, and in particular to fire the domes of armored bunkers, for which these tasks were not lighter vehicles, such as the Stug 3 could be used to great effect. Work on such a combat vehicle accelerated shortly after the outbreak of the war, which resulted in the 10.5 cm K18 Auf Panzer Selbstfahrlafett 4 gun, made in 2 prototypes in 1941, which, however, finally was not mass-produced. In the spring of 1941, Hitler ordered the continuation of work on heavy self-propelled guns, indicating inter alia on the 128 mm caliber as a target for such a construction. As a result, such cannons 12.8 cm KL-61 by Rheinmetall Borsig, the manufacturer of anti-aircraft guns of this caliber, the heaviest flak model adopted by the Luftwaffe, were equipped with 2 turretless prototypes of VK3001H tanks, which were completed as self-propelled guns for in early 1942. In the spring, he was sent to the Eastern Front for combat tests. However, these were only demonstration tanks. Neither the anti-tank gun used in them, nor, obviously, the prototype carrier entered mass production. Despite this, work on the self-propelled gun with a 128 mm gun was continued, although their priority can be described as very low plus. In the strategic Adolf Hitler Panzer program, prepared at the beginning of 1943, the strategic plan for the production of armored weapons for the years 1943-1945, the idea of such a vehicle was once again returned to. It was initially assumed that it would be built on a completely new carrier, with the engine placed at the front, and the gun itself would be covered only by the front hood of the gun. The design of the vehicle was to resemble the Italian Semovente DA 9053's SPG. However, as early as February 1943, at another conference with Hitler, they began to lean towards a different solution, a heavily armored assault vehicle. As a result of this conference, on February 22nd, Wa-Proof 4 Artillery Department of the Armaments Office turned to Krupp, the designer of a new heavy tank gun, 12.8 cm KWK-L, 55 caliber, 128 mm, intended for the Maus, with the order for its adaptation for a self-propelled gun, built with the use of the newest, newly designed heavy tank, Henschel Tiger H3 Tiger II, as a carrier. Interestingly, the vehicle was supposed to have an optional front engine, like the 8.8 cm Panzerjäger Tiger P of Ferdinand. According to the proposal of the representatives of Krupp, the tank was to have frontal armor with a thickness of 200 mm, side armor 100 mm, and a maximum weight of 70 tons, which was an impossible assumption in advance. Krupp and Henschel soon started working on the new department. In April, Henschel announced that the concept with a front engine would require such a deep overhaul of the hull and mechanisms of the designed tank that it would significantly extend the work on the self-propelled gun and complicate it structurally, and the benefits of such a solution were considered dubious. This meant that the future tank was ultimately to be built in the same configuration as the standard Tiger H3. The concept of the front-engine tank was retained for typical high-speed self-propelled guns. They did not have to be heavily armored, but their combat compartments had to be much larger. The chassis of the heavy tank was used in the development of the self-propelled version of the 17-centimeter long-range gun. Only 2 heavy anti-tank battalions, Schwer Panzerjäger Abteilung, numbered the 512th and 653, were equipped with Jagdtigers. with the first vehicles reaching the units in September 1944. About 20 Present were lost in combat, with most destroyed by their own crews when abandoned, chiefly due to various mechanical breakdowns or the chronic lack of fuel in the final stages of the war.